Predictability is the invisible poison that numbs female desire until it turns into indifference. The nice guy isn't rejected for being nice, he's rejected for being obvious, for always being white. And this is where the structural flaw of most men begins. They believe that constant kindness is a sign of value, when in reality it is perceived as an absence of challenge, an absence of tension, an absence of power. Imagine a completely white painting with a black dot. Now the opposite, a black painting with a white dot. In the first, the black screams at the eye. In the second, the white is what catches the eye. The human brain is programmed to notice what deviates from the norm, what breaks the pattern. The nice guy's constant kindness becomes a landscape. She no longer notices it. But the gentle gesture of the man who is normally neutral, distant, confident, this gesture turns into a burst of dopamine. She records it, she dreams, she comes back, and here comes the cruelest trap. The nice guy doesn't understand what's at stake. He believes he's being rejected for not being nice enough, and so he doubles down. More flowers, more messages, more presents. And the more he offers, the deeper he sinks. Because being too available doesn't communicate strength, it communicates neediness. And neediness is the opposite of attraction. Friedrich Nietzsche, in Beyond Good and Evil, gives us a brutal clue about this game. What is good? Everything that increases the feeling of power. What is bad? Everything that comes from weakness. Seduction is not a moral field. It's a field of perception, and the nice guy, in his eagerness to please, transmits exactly that. Weakness, insecurity, fear of loss. He seduces through excess. And those who seduce through excess suffocate. That's why, often, the guy who treats her with indifference, who plays with limits, and who never gives her everything right away, is the one who becomes unforgettable. Because he activates her intermittent reward system. He is black with touches of white. Mystery with flashes of vulnerability, silence with pauses of attention. And this dance between absence and presence creates an erotic tension that the good guy will never be able to generate. But there is a contradiction here that needs to be faced. The good guy is not fake. He is often genuinely polite, empathetic, loyal. He truly offers, and yet he is rejected. This hurts, it revolts, but it is reality. Female attraction does not reward nobility. It responds to emotional stimulation, to the unexpected, to contrast. The world of seduction is not fair. It is biological, and there is no point in blaming women for this. It is nature operating with its ancient codes. The man who does not understand this becomes a disposable piece. The man who does understand, however, begins to play with another logic. He does not need to stop being good, but he needs to stop being predictable. He needs to become memorable. And it is precisely at this point that we enter a new dimension, the art of being half good, half unpredictable, of becoming the rare type of man that she can never quite figure out, the one who is not a villain, but is not a hostage either. And that is where the power lies. Most men believe that there are only two paths. Either you are the nice guy who crawls for attention, or you are the scoundrel who makes her cry but who never leaves her mind. But there is a third type, and he is infinitely more dangerous. He is the man who is not predictable like the saint, nor impulsive like the scoundrel. He is the calculated middle ground, the walking exception. The balance between the touch of tenderness and strategic coldness. He is the unpredictable gentleman. This man does not kneel or step. He seduces with control, not with impulses. He knows that the secret to attraction is not in excess, but in dosage. He is the rare wine. You don't drink it every day, but when it appears, it leaves its mark on the palate of memory. The curious thing is that this type of man activates something in women that the other two cannot, a constant obsession with deciphering him. Because he is a living contradiction. And the human brain loves to solve unfinished mysteries. In the series Mad Men, Don Draper is an example of this lethal middle ground. He is not good in the traditional sense, but he is not a gratuitous scoundrel either. He listens, touches, surprises, but never reveals everything. He creates tension, but delivers relief when least expected. He kisses hard and disappears the next day. Not for the sake of a game, but for style, for dominance. This man does not seek female validation. He is validation. The secret lies in what Robert Greene calls selective enchantment. It is not about giving attention, it is about giving it at the right moments. Imagine the emotional impact of a compliment coming from someone who rarely compliments. Now compare it to that guy who says, "You are beautiful," every time he sees you. The first causes a dopamine rush. The second, boredom. This is what differentiates the middle ground from the extremes. He knows that every gesture loses value when it is frequent. This man does not play the game to please. He plays the game to be remembered. And to do so, he adopts a fundamental stance. He is never completely available. Not out of arrogance, but out of emotional intelligence. He understands that desire is born from absence, doubt, and distance. When you are always there, you are not desired. You are taken for granted, and what is taken for granted is devalued. But here comes a key point that needs to be unraveled. How can you be this middle ground without seeming artificial or manipulative? The answer is simpler than it seems. He acts on principles, not emotions. When a woman demands something irrational, he does not comply. When she acts with respect, he reciprocates with generosity. He is predictable in his values, but unpredictable in his gestures. This is the essence of lasting charm. And this is where seduction stops being a game of appearances and becomes a game of posture. The unpredictable gentleman does not need to act like an alpha. He does not need to impose himself by shouting. He imposes presence with silence. He seduces with absence. He charms with precision. When she sends him a message full of indirect messages, he does not respond with neediness. He responds calmly. When she tries to test his limits, he doesn't react with anger. He smiles and changes the subject. This isn't coldness. This is emotional dominance. There's a memorable scene in which a man, when tested by a woman who says, "Wait here for me," responds, "Sure, I'll be on the other side. Find me when you get back." It seems insignificant, but in this detail, he reverses the power game. He shows that he's willing, but on his own terms. He doesn't deny, but he doesn't submit either. This is the signature of the middle ground. He gives in without giving in. And here comes a delicious contradiction. This type of man seems less interested, but he's the one who sticks in her mind the most. Because he's not predictable. He's not a script. He's an enigma. And desire thrives on this, on the doubt that is never completely resolved. The middle ground is the mystery that she can't forget. It's the white dot in the black background of memory. And that's why being half nice, half unpredictable is infinitely more powerful than being 100% nice. Because nice gets forgotten. Unpredictable gets tattooed on the subconscious. But mastering this middle ground takes more than poise. It takes understanding the female emotional cycle and how you can tap into it with surgical precision. And that's exactly what we're going to explore now. How to control your attention and emotions like a silent master of seduction. Seduction is not a straight line. It is a system. A cycle of stimulus and response, like an emotional casino where she bets her attention, hoping for the reward of your affection. But if you always pay, she stops playing, and when you disappear completely, she changes the game. The secret is in the oscillation, in the unstable flow. This is where one of the most powerful principles of behavioral psychology comes in: intermittent reward. This concept, which was the basis for addicting billions of people to social networks, games, and even slot machines, works because the human brain is hypersensitive to unpredictability. When something happens randomly and positively, the release of dopamine is much greater than when it is constant. The same logic applies to the male-female dynamic. A man who offers intermittent attention generates expectation, doubt, and emotional anxiety, the three ingredients of desire. But be careful. This does not mean being cold or manipulative. It means knowing exactly when to reward and when to back off. Let's make this clearer with a practical emotional matrix. Imagine 5 situations. In the first, she feels a negative emotion caused by you: jealousy, sadness, anger. Here you take a stand. You don't run away, you don't ignore it, you don't disappear. You pay attention. Why? Because in this scenario, you are the one responsible, and the man who avoids it when he is the direct cause loses respect. The correction here is firm attention, not tearful apologies. It is presence without submission. In the second situation, the one who feels the negative emotion is you, because she provoked, tested, or disrespected your limits. Here, the mistake 90% of men make is to chase after you, to show that they were shaken. And that's the end. The man of value ignores you. Cold? No. Fair. Because when you pay attention in moments when she is disrespecting you, you teach her that disrespect is worth a reward. You don't fight, you just withdraw emotionally. Third situation, she is happy about something you did. You took her out to dinner, complimented her, touched her deeply. Congratulations. Now get lost. Not literally, but emotionally. Did you create a spike in dopamine? Now take it back. Because if you keep sending sweet messages after the date, you don't generate desire, you generate saturation. Remember, the more you feed without stopping, the more she loses her appetite. Fourth, you feel a positive emotion because she did something that pleased you. In this case, the correct response is attention. It's not about flattery, but about recognizing and encouraging the behavior you want. This is emotional leadership. It's you who defines what's worth a reward. And when she realizes that pleasing you generates emotional access, she starts playing to win. Finally, fifth situation. She's going through a drama that has nothing to do with you. A fight with her mother, stress at work, emotional PMS. Here lies the fatal mistake of the nice guy, trying to solve everything, giving hugs, flowers, chocolates. The result? You become a therapist. Neutral zone. You're not the lover, you're the emotional support. And there's no libido where there's a therapeutic function. The rule here is simple. Listen with empathy, but don't reward what didn't come from you. These 5 scenarios form the basis of emotional control. But the refinement comes now. Indirect requests. Most women don't say, I want to go to the movies. They say, I love movies. Most don't say, take me out to dinner. They say, that restaurant is amazing. The nice guy hears this and responds with immediate action. The middle ground, the strategist, he takes note and delivers when she doesn't expect it. This transforms a suggestion into a gift, a whim into a surprise, a desire into devotion. The man who masters the timing of emotional delivery dominates her mind because he breaks the logical sequence. He makes her wait, and when she waits, she invests, and when she invests, she clings. Because everything that costs is worth it. Everything that is difficult leaves its mark, and everything that comes after a void explodes emotionally. Nietzsche said that happiness is the feeling that power grows, and that's exactly what you do when you masterfully apply the intermittent reward. You make her feel like she needs to earn your attention, and in that effort, she dives in, she desires, she surrenders. But here's the final warning. This power is not for the weak, because whoever masters it can use it to feed their ego or to build a real connection based on authentic desire. The choice is yours. Do you want to be forgotten for being too good? Or remembered for being memorable at the right time?